5 rank CS and around 4 with D or lower. There was a regulation when attempting to clear a gate rated C. The minimum number of a party had to be 10 hunters, and more than half had to be at least ranked C or higher. Excuse me, looks like we're both pieces of fluff in this party, huh? He was none other than the other hunter Huang Dongxiok had brought along in order to fill up the numbers. He was a young man with a bright expression. However, unlike Jin Wu, he was actually going to participate in battles. Jin Wu lightly nodded his head as Yu Jin-ho greeted him, before shifting his gaze away. Before we enter, you two, take a look at these. Huang Dongxiok pushed forward a page of a document to Jin Wu and Yu Jin-ho each. It turned out to be a simple contract. Write your names on the bottom and sign it, and we're good to go. The contents said he'd not participate in any hunting. He'd not participate in sharing of the loot. And when the raid was over, he'd be paid 2 million won right away. The terms were the same as what he heard over the phone. However, they were not the ones to catch his attention. I have to promise not to question them regardless of whatever incident happens inside the dungeon. Unlike the raids organized by the association, one would not be able to claim for compensation if something happened during a raid organized by the freelancers. One of the reasons why hunters couldn't get a life insurance either. One had to look after one's own neck, in other words. Only now did it feel real that Jin Wu had entered an assault team. What am I supposed to do when we're inside? Nothing too particular. Just follow us and help us carry the luggage, that's all. Your luggage. Huang Dongxiok pointed at the huge backpack one of his Dongxings pulled out from the minivan. You'll be carrying around lunch boxes to eat when inside, several sets of clothing and equipment, first aid kits and some other stuff. Wait, first aid kits when entering a dungeon? Jin Wu couldn't help but question this. You are not entering with a healer. I'm sure you already know that it's not easy to hire a healer if you're running your own assault party. Well, we've been doing things this way until now, so it'll be fine. Huang Dongxiok smiled awkwardly. To think, this team just barely met the required minimum number of hunters. One of the additional members mistook a raid as a blind date or something. And the composition of the assault team only happened to feature a tanker and damage dealers, and not one healer. Even after hearing that there was no healer present, that oblivious additional member didn't seem too bothered by the revelation. It was the sure proof that he was a newbie. Jin Wu smirked inwardly. They are a bunch of wannabes. However, he still signed on the contract. Not because he needed that 2 million, but because he knew very well that he could protect himself now. Huang Dongxiok confirmed the signatures of both men and shouted out in a loud voice as if he was feeling really pleased today. Okay, let's get going, everyone. The party headed straight to the location of the gate. It was in the middle of the halted construction site for an apartment complex. The economy nowadays isn't so good,